For all businesses with 15 or more employees, employment lawyer Nicholas Marouchak joins us to explain exactly what that means. Good afternoon, Nick.
Hello, Monika.
In a nutshell, what is the right to disconnect? Who can do it?
It's basically a right that employees have to turn their phones off, not respond to text messages, not respond to emails after working hours. And it basically applies to all employees who are covered under the Fair Work Act. So in WA, that means most private sector employees and federal government employees.
Is it a choice or a blanket ban?
So it's a choice. So the employee can decide whether they want to respond or not. It's entirely their decision. And if they choose not to, that's their right.
Will it really empower employees, though, to say no?
I think so, because this law is actually a protected workplace right. So that means if an employee exercises their right to disconnect and the business retaliates against them, then they have broken the Fair Work Act provisions. And that has the same effect as, that have the same protection as discrimination laws under the Fair Work Act.
What do staff need to consider before refusing contact outside of work hours?
So first step is common sense. I think good communication between the business and the employee is really essential to work out what expectations are. But if they want to choose their right to disconnect, then the Fair Work Act sets out a number of criteria, because the right to disconnect has to be reasonable. So they'll look at the employee's role and responsibility, their personal circumstances, the reason for the contact, and whether the employee is being compensated for that extra level of contact. So there is also a provision in place if there's a dispute between the business and the employee for the Fair Work Commission to get involved and actually make an order to stop the business from contacting the employee, or to force the employee to answer their phone calls after hours.
How significant is this to businesses? Because many workplaces aren't 9 to 5. Are there industries who will be exempt from this?
So there are limited exemptions, and they mainly apply to national defence industries, and also it's anything that's done under workplace health and safety laws is still allowed. But other than those limited exceptions, this will apply to all industries. And there are changes made to each modern award, which are industry-specific instruments. So some industries will have extra provisions regarding these laws in the modern awards.
If companies breach the law, what are the penalties?
The company will be fined under the Fair Work Act, and the employee is entitled to compensation. So the company has to make sure that they do not retaliate against an employee who chooses their right to disconnect. And if they retaliate, there are fines and compensation. If a business disagrees with the employee's choice to disconnect, then the business must go to Fair Work to get an order to compel the employee to answer their phone. Short of that, this is the employee's sole decision.
Nick Marouchak from MKI Legal, thank you very much for explaining.
Thank you.
A major underworld figure.